and welcome to the pod. I'm your host, Grace, and with us we have Andy, who's going to teach us all about how to become a head chef. So thank you so much for joining us. I'm so excited.
Thank you for having me. It's nice to be here.
It's lovely to have you. So first of all, just tell us what it is to be a head chef.
Being a head chef is a lot of fun. Mm-hmm. It's a lot of hard work. And really, it's all about a good team and a good surrounding of people who care for a common passion, which is food and, I guess, service, and giving people a nice opportunity, a nice experience to enjoy deliciousness and enjoy a moment in hospitality.
As somebody whose favorite thing to do is to eat out, that was lovely. So thank you. Yeah. It is the best experience. You need that nice experience. But we'll go all into that. But we'll just start with, what did you want to be when you were growing up?
What I wanted to be when I was growing up, it's a good question. I think I wanted to be a musician.
Oh, really?
If I was to really think about it. There was a period of time when, so my early adolescence, I played guitar, sang a bit, and I always pictured myself being like a frontman of a heavy metal band or a rock band.
I think you would have suited that. I can see that.
Without being like, I want to be a rock star.
No.
I just thought music is my other passion, and I did experiment with different instruments. But if I really thought about what would be something I wanted to delve into, it would probably be that. In saying that, I did spend a lot of my time not thinking about what I wanted to be when I grew up.
Nice.
And probably that extended to my later teens.
Yeah.
And then it got to a point where I was like, I've got to do something. So, yeah.
And when you thought about that, what hit you then? Why didn't you go and try and be a rock star?
Teenage years, having fun.
Yeah. Which you should be doing.
Not being too serious, I guess.
Yeah.
And yeah, I think in some ways I grew up quite quickly, and maybe that ambition or that determination of practicing, and you have to put a lot of time into being a musician, and I think I wasn't dedicated enough at that point in my life. And looking back on it, it just shifted.
And it's competitive, right? It's hard to get into, so it's if you're not 100% sure on it.
Yeah, I just saw myself leading, people in a circle pit, mosh pit.
I could see that for sure. So what did you shift to?
Well, I was always working in hospitality. So I was very fortunate to be surrounded by good food and family that was working in the industry. So my dad started in nightclubs and worked his way up started in restaurants and worked his way into nightclubs. And then when I was growing up, he had restaurants. So I was always working in the restaurant and running food or polishing glasses, and whether that was after school or, during summer. And then on weekends, I would be doing my part to support the family business and pull my weight. Make a little pocket money at that age is always fun. So having been around a family of hospitality, I was always surrounded by it, and I always had a part of me which was, it was never enforced by my old man or my family, but it was always there, and it was always something that I was drawn to, because I was in a hospitality family. Yeah.
Did you always love the vibe? Because it can be hectic and busy.
When I was really young, I have a lot of memories of running around his nightclubs.
Yeah.
And not when they were open. Maybe I did that a couple times, but running around and just looking down on the balcony. And at one point, my dad had a very famous club called the Metro, which was, during its time, it was the biggest nightclub in the Southern Hemisphere. So I remember just running around as a kid and being amazed by this dynamic in this whole different world, which was so foreign to me. So in some ways, I guess I was attracted to that, but I didn't really know anything about it. And as I grew up and got a bit older, the restaurants were more there as a bit of a place we would go for meals, a place we would go for family celebrations, and they just became a part of our life. And I was always surrounded by, dad's colleagues and people that worked for him that loved our family, and it becomes a bit of a family unit that I was then invited to.
That's really cool. You don't hear of many people's parents owning a nightclub. That's pretty cool.
Yeah, that was when I was quite young, and then we lived in the US for a few years, and he had a couple of restaurants over there, and then when we moved back to Australia, he had a restaurant which I worked at throughout my teenage years. So that was sort of the foundations. Restaurant called Fog.
What was the cuisine there?
The cuisine, I guess it was quite broad because it was at a period of time where in Melbourne there was a lot going on in the food industry, but he had just come back from the US. So he sponsored some of his chefs from the US to come over.
Oh, nice.
And there was 3 of them, but they were all from Southwest USA. So I guess you would say it was a steakhouse more than anything, bistro style steakhouse. You had a lot of classic French things. You had like your entrecote steak and chips. You had charcuterie boards. We always had mussels or oysters, stuff like that. But we had 3 or 4 different steaks on the menu, different pastas. So modern European cooking, without being too flash or fine. Trying to be fine dining. It was just really good comfort food. So it was a nice foundations for me to be working in, and those chefs became sort of big influences when I was as a teenager, getting into the industry, and one of them in particular was a big mentor for me.
Is that where you kind of learn everything you know? Did you ever do like any official training, or it really was all from that?
No, I still went to culinary school, which is very beneficial. You learn a lot of the classics, and you learn things that might not be practiced in everyday restaurants, or at least not today, but it's foundations, so it's important. What I was lucky to have was I was working full-time on the job apprenticeship, where I was still working for my old man, still working with this team of chefs that I knew and respected, and they'd known me since I was like 7 as well. So eventually just growing up and being surrounded by them. But yeah, I did have culinary training. I did a sort of 2-year apprenticeship, which was great. Yeah.
If people are listening and they want to be a head chef, would you always recommend getting that culinary training?
I think it's important, but I think it's always subject to the individual. Everyone's story is different. Everyone's training's different. I've worked with people and known friends who have worked in the best restaurants in Melbourne and in Australia, and their skills are amazing. They learned great skills from an early start. Compare that with people who have had a wide range of experience doing all sorts of different things and maybe less formal dining, but it depends what style of cooking you want to be involved in and what you want to put forward and what you want to do. There's so many different restaurants and styles of cuisines that I think the foundations are important, but it just depends on your attitude and your determination. Like, what do you want to put into it? Because what you put into is what you'll receive.
Nice, that's excellent advice. So you're working in the family restaurant. I'm sure that's so much fun. What's the next steps from there? How do you keep growing from there?
So the family restaurant was always fun. Like I said, it was me putting my efforts into the family business. I think people always have the idea that, if you're working for family, that you're sort of slacking off. Where in this dynamic, it was quite different because I felt like I always had to work harder to prove myself that I wasn't getting special treatment. But I worked in a few different restaurants around Melbourne. I had an injury, which I took some time off, and the injury actually gave me a moment of, can I continue in this industry? And from that, I took a little bit, stepped away. I did my rehab, and then I came back to it, and I just slowly worked my way up again. So I worked in a range of different restaurants, similar styles. One was sort of casual fine dining. A couple of them were sort of casual fine dining, I guess you would say. One was a smoked meats house, like Southern style smoked meats house. Worked in a cafe for a bit where I ran the lunch. Went back to more, I guess, casual fine dining. Worked in a quite formal Italian restaurant, which was good. Remember, I came back from traveling as well, and one of my friends who runs food trucks needed a number 2, and I did that for 6 months. So had a kind of staggered training for the first, not for the first period of time, but after leaving that family business, which was the first 2-3 years, let's say, after that I had a bit of a 4 years of just floating around doing different jobs, different types of restaurants and different cuisines. Yeah.
That moment where you had the injury and you're like, I'm not sure if I can carry on, was that like incredibly scary? Because it's kind of like all you've known.
Yeah, it was frightening at the time.
Yeah.
The injury was bad, but it wasn't like, I just needed a shift. I needed to realize that I was going to heal and then I can get back into it. I am where I am now. So at the time, though, I did have a moment of pausing going, is there something else I want to do? And a part of me thought about it. And I guess I didn't really allow myself to explore anything else. Because once I was in a position to work again, I started working back in kitchens and it felt comfortable and it felt like being home because it was what I knew.
You're doing the right thing.
Yeah.
When you went traveling, that must have given you kind of a different outlook because you're experiencing so many different eating experiences, I guess.
I think for all chefs.
Yeah.
Well, not even just chefs. I think travel's important for everyone. I think you have to be curious about the world, and that passion comes through in food a lot. Travel is a big part of that curiosity, and exploring those different cuisines and the cultures behind them is massive. So I've been lucky to travel pretty extensively, and I've always had amazing food experiences on my travels, and that always is, drawing inspiration. I'm always looking at those moments as, what can I do with this, and reflecting on memories of traveling experiences and going, I remember that meal.
Yeah. It's like you're constantly in work mode kind of because you're always eating. So it's like you're always drawing on them.
And I'm always eating. So
yeah. It's like one of the best things ever. So
yeah.
So how did we get you over here to London?
So there was a few things that was involved in the decision making. Food was obviously one of them, the work opportunities. Change in my life, change from the city that I was living in, which was Melbourne, where I'm from. And I just wanted to explore something else. And my partner, Christy, shout out to Christy.
We love Christy.
We met in Australia, and then she moved back to the UK where she was originally from. So the potential to explore the relationship was there. And when I came back, we organically, I guess, got back together. But when I think about where I was at in my life, in my career, I was working hard and I was having a good time, but I needed a shift to take myself more seriously. Yeah. And I'd worked in some good places and I had a lot of really good experience, but I was 26, I think. And I just had this moment where I was like, if I don't make this change, I'm not going to do it. Right. And I really wanted to make that change. I wanted to live in other cities. I wanted to live all over the world. And I thought I would be here for 2 years. That was the plan. And it's been 6.5 going on 7. So something good is happening.
Something good has really happened. Yeah. And you came here, and did you already have like a job lined up, or was it kind of, because obviously I'm not a chef, but I'm assuming there's quite a lot of opportunity in London for that kind of stuff? Definitely, yeah.
There's, especially in that period of time, which was pre-Brexit and pre-COVID, the industry was flourishing. So I didn't have a job lined up. I came here just quite with a sense of ease, and I wasn't stressed about finding a job. I was like, I'm going to get here, I'm going to explore for a couple of weeks, enjoy my summer or the early part of summer, and I'll look for jobs. And I had a bit of a list of restaurants that I wanted to try and restaurants that I wanted to hand a CV at. And I remember one day being on the phone to my dad, and I said, I'm going to go hand some CVs out. And he was like, where are you going? And looking online, and a restaurant called Nopi popped up. And Nopi is in the same company I work for now. And I'd eaten there in 2014 with my mum and some family. I was traveling here at the time in 2014. So I had the cookbook as well back in Australia, a chef called Ramayal Scully. He's got a restaurant in St. James called Scully's. And I just remember eating that meal in 2014. I was like, fuck, this is good.
Yeah.
Like I was really into the flavors, and I hadn't really eaten anything like that in Australia. And I just, having had that experience, having then the cookbook and I guess following it for a number of years, when I came here and saw that they were looking for chefs, it was the first place I went to. So I went and had a chat with the chef at the time, who became my first head chef, and did a trial and went well.
Wow.
Yeah. So, I didn't have a job organized, and I just went for the first job that really reached out to me.
That's kind of meant to be.
Yeah, it felt good.
Yeah.
Actually, there's a funny story as well. I remember walking through Soho that day, and I just got off the phone to my dad and my brothers. My dad gave us some good news, and me and my brothers were all very happy, and I was like, oh, it's great, the sun's shining, walking through Soho, going to this, potential job interview. And as I'm walking through Soho, I just recognized this face, like this man outside this pub. And I took him twice, and then I looked again, and it was Viggo Mortensen, the actor?
Yeah.
Captain Fantastic. Aragon, he's absolute legend.
Yeah, big deal.
And then I was like, and I turned around, I had my headphones in, I was like, fucking legend. And he's like, probably rolls his eyes. He's like, some tourists come and shake my hand. And I just went over and I was like, mate, you're my mum's and my brother's favorite actor. We love your work. I hope you have a lovely day. And he was like, thank you so much. Appreciate you. And then I just remember turning around and putting my headphones back in. I was like, I just met Aragon. I'm going to get this fucking job.
Yeah. This is like one of the best days ever for you.
Yeah, it was great. The sun was shining, like I said. I think it put me in a good attitude and a good, I probably went into the interview.
Good vibes.
Yeah, good vibes.
With being, so you weren't head chef at this place, right?
No, I worked my way up in this company. I wouldn't say relatively fast progression within my career, but considering the industry and considering the restaurant group like Ottolenghi, where I am now, having worked at Nopi, we were closed for COVID, reopened, worked at Nopi, then I've shifted to ROVI where I am now. And I've worked I went as a senior chef de partie, and I wanted to be a sous chef. COVID happened. And then when I moved to ROVI, when I went there, when I moved internally, I pretty much said, I want to be a sous chef within a short period of time. Like, this is my goal. And I ended up doing that. I got that within sort of 6 months. And then there was just this progression of being a sous chef into then eventually being offered the head chef role. So I'm going on 2 years of being a head chef, but I've been cooking professionally, I guess, since I was 18. So 14 years or something. So yeah, that's not a long period of time, I would for a chef to become a head chef.
Okay.
Maybe. But some people could cook their whole careers and not be a head chef. So I guess I'm very happy with where I'm at.
Good. So you should be. It's amazing. Yeah. For me, a head chef, especially for a gorgeous place like ROVI, it's really high pressure. Is that right?
Yeah.
Yeah?
Yeah, it can be.
Yeah. And, you everything's like presented beautifully and tastes lovely, and you're changing menus all the time and stuff. What kind of like attributes do you think if someone wants to be head chef? Like, do you have to be calm? Do you have to be patient? Do you have to be focused all the time?
It's a great question, because in my experience in cooking and in restaurants or kitchens, I've noticed that there's two different characters of chefs.
Right.
Well, there's a lot of different characters. There's a lot of different personalities. It's a big melting pot of personalities, which I'll come back to. But in my experience, it's kind of split between, one is the person who's had really strong family connections to food. Their fondest memories when they're a kid is them, making some traditional dish with their grandmother, and the smells are in the air, and they're surrounded by food and food culture. And they, I would say, have probably more of like a defined palate. So they they can cook. If you ask them to cook, whatever, they could cook something beautiful, present something beautiful, and the flavors pair well, and they understand food. And like I said, that family culture, the food culture, is really like embedded in their story. On the other side is you have maybe people who don't have as strong a palate or have as much of a family tie, but they thrive on hard work and they love hard work. Mm-hmm. And they're a little bit more perhaps like the grunts of the industry, or like the pushers and the grinders in the kitchen. You could show them a recipe and you could say, make this, present it this way. They will present it like that every time. They will make it look good. They can do the job. But maybe you ask them to cook something and they don't have as much creativity. Mm-hmm. So I find that you either have, this like person who's naturally a little bit more gifted with food, mm-hmm. and one who's more naturally gifted with hard work. And the ideal scenario is capitalizing on both. Yeah. Or someone that's gone through the trajectory of both, which I would probably say is a little bit like me. Mm-hmm. But at the end of the day, you're working with people and you're trying to focus on their strengths and understand their weaknesses and how you can work with that or better them from that. Mm. So perhaps, I've worked with chefs who are the foodie one, their family history. They just can't handle the hours. They can't handle the stress or the intensity. So it's like I said, it's understanding the individual and working to their needs.
Because chefing is also pretty unsociable hours, right?
Yeah, it can be. Yeah. For sure. Yeah.
And that's a lot.
It bothered me when I was younger.
Yeah.
Missing every 18th and 21st birthday, but you end up going after midnight when it's funner anyway. So.
Yeah, everyone's all drunk and it's fun.
It can be. It's had its challenges for me in my previous relationships. Even to be honest, at times with my current relationship, but it also has the opportunity to be great. Yeah.
Definitely. And also, there's two things I want to ask about, because I feel like some people might think being head chef is just cooking, but I'm assuming are you managing a team?
Yeah.
So that's another thing in itself. Like you must have to learn as you're going up, not just about the cooking, but about managing a lot of people in that high pressure environment. How's that?
I've been quite lucky with the company, Ottolenghi company, to be involved in some trainings and different workshops, some different life coaching programs.
Oh, that's cool.
That have helped, I guess, in terms of like leadership roles. Mm-hmm. And I do think it also depends on life experience. Are you a good communicator? You have to have an understanding of people's families and life and social life, and people have other needs outside the kitchen, which is hard. But at the end of the day, you're a team and a family unit, and you have to understand that you have to listen. Mm-hmm. And I think I've been good in that role. I would say my first year, I probably struggled with it a little bit because I was a bit overwhelmed with the priorities of the business over my team. And that's something I've had to learn with and become like, if your team's in a good place, the kitchen's in a good place, hopefully everything else unfolds. I'm not going to say that's not going to bring people through the door. Yeah. But it'll make the atmosphere and the work environment better for everyone. Mm-hmm. And I think, one thing I learned in my first year was I was trying to bite off more than I can chew. And I was probably not paying more attention to the team. So that's a learning curve. I think like any industry, you have to be a good communicator. Yeah. And to take on the responsibility of managing people, I'm relatively probably a pretty chill guy. Mm-hmm.
I would agree.
But I have to be serious in my job, and I am serious. I take my job serious. And when you're in that position of leadership, you have to be a bit bossy sometimes. Yeah. And I expect a certain standard from people. I put a lot of trust in people to perform. Mm-hmm. And if I show them something, I expect that from someone. And yeah, really, you want to put your trust in people and expect that they do the same back.
Yeah, I love that. Because like you say, people are coming into this restaurant for an experience, and they're expecting something, and you have to deliver that, really. So that's as a team. That's not just one of you.
Yeah, it's all about a team.
Yeah.
And it's all about food, People want to eat delicious food.
They really do.
You could have a one-man kitchen and do great food, for sure. But people don't see behind the scenes of the restaurant, of all the things that people are doing and all the hard work people are putting into it. And it's really based on a team that coexists and works in, everyone's interconnected. Everyone has a responsibility. And if you don't take that serious, people will notice.
Yeah.
It's like I was saying before about the different characters and the different personalities in the kitchen. I think one thing that drew me to it from a young age was it's sort of this crazy pirate ship of different personalities and people. You could have every different, background or ethnicity or religion, whatever, but everyone's there to just cook delicious food.
Yeah, definitely.
And sometimes it flows and it's beautiful and it works in harmony, but it's a pirate ship.
Yeah.
So sometimes it's absolute chaos, organized chaos maybe. Maybe it's a little bit of a struggle, stressful, but you have to have a good attitude and you have to take it seriously. I think it's one of the industries that you will discover very quickly if you're meant to be doing it.
Yeah.
And if you're not meant to do it. I've met people who hate their job, and I think if you hated your job, you couldn't last doing that in a kitchen.
Yeah, for sure.
It's too difficult. You got to have a good attitude. You got to take it serious. But it's like Nike, just do it. You got to just do it.
You got to just do it.
Fuck all sleep. Got to get up.
Yeah, that's the thing. That's it. There's no like wiggling the mouse or anything. If you're working from home, it's like you're full on the whole time. Yeah. And restaurants rely on the good reviews and all of that. Word of mouth spreads pretty quickly. So yeah, for sure.
Just do it. Yeah, you don't want to be around sharp knives and fire when you're feeling rough.
No,
you do it. Don't get me wrong.
It happens,
but it does happen on the occasion. But it's it comes with the territory a little bit.
And the second thing I wanted to ask you is, you said just before, you're doing new menus and stuff. Like, what are you actually doing to develop that? Like, how much actually goes into that? Because I've never thought about that before.
Yeah. When you get to depending on the size of the restaurant.
Yeah.
The size of the restaurant. I mean, ROVI is 17 chefs and 6 kitchen porters. So it's a relatively big back of house team.
It is.
The hardest thing, I think, at first, moving into that managerial role of head chef, is actually separating yourself from the kitchen. Not necessarily managing the people, but just separating yourself from maybe the day-to-day interactions, maybe the food service. Like, I do still work on the pass all the time, and I develop and everything else, but there's a lot of back of house admin. There's a lot of time I spend in the office. There's a lot of meetings I'm involved with, like in the company. There's supplier conversations. So we're all in the game because we love food, but having stepped away from that was a bit of a difficult transition for me, going, oh, actually, I'm not cooking that much anymore.
Yeah.
But you need to learn all the other parts of it. In terms of menu development, we always try and change our menu seasonally. The beautiful thing about ROVI, which is, in my opinion, the most exciting thing, is we have our own kitchen garden, which is in Wood Green, so North London. It's about half an hour from where we are here. And we have a great team over there, a guy called Max, who's our gardener and grower. And we have beautiful seasonal produce. It's not enough to sustain the whole menu, but it's definitely enough to capitalize like a percentage of our menu based on the ingredients we're getting. We actually had a meeting yesterday, and our top selling ingredient was cucumbers, where we did 720 kilos of cucumbers in the season.
Oh my gosh, that is a lot.
It's hard to imagine what that looks like.
Yeah.
But it's grateful to the top.
It's a lot.
Yeah, it's a lot. So we try and organize and develop our menu a lot of it's based around what we're getting from the farm, and then working with other suppliers, and just seasonal produce. Developing dishes is like anything; it takes trial and error. Mm-hmm. Trial and error.
A lot of practicing, a lot of tasting.
A lot of tasting, a lot of feedback. Mm-hmm. And also where I'm at ROVI, for example, there's my boss, who is the former head chef. Mm-hmm. So he helps me a lot with critiquing and sort of assessing where the menu needs to be, mm-hmm. what we're lacking, what we're missing, what we should aim for. And in terms of day-to-day operations, it's me and my sous chefs who are the number twos. They're tasting the food that the other chefs are putting forward. They're developing and putting ideas forward that I'm giving them feedback. So there is a collaboration of us managers putting dishes on. And then every couple of weeks, if not every month in the calendar, Yotam will come and do Yotam Ottolenghi, who's the director of the company, has all the cookbooks. He will come and do tastings. So he'll come and give his feedback, which is really important because he's the director and he's still the head of food. Yeah. So we are always working with our creativity, but it's directed to Ottolenghi stylistically. Mm-hmm. And ROVI, I would say, is like a little bit of the naughty stepchild of the Ottolenghi group. Just because we have the fire, we cook on the grill, we try and have a lot of elements cooked on the fire. We focus on fermentations as well and preserve because of the farm. We just have we have a point of difference. So yeah, developing is awesome. It's what you imagine, or I think people imagine it to be, but it's not as much of my day to day.
Yeah, it is.
It is when the seasons change.
Yeah, it is so lovely to hear like how much goes into it. You know, it's very easy to go in and see a menu and you forget like how much planning and tasting and approvals and hard work's really gone into it. So it's really nice to hear that process.
Yeah.
And I know you've also done a lot of exciting stuff because you like went abroad and you did kind of like, was it like a food festival and stuff? So you're not just cooking in the kitchen, you also was that to represent ROVI at other things as well? Yeah,
this year was great for, we did 2 different pop-ups. They weren't under ROVI's banner, but they were part of, it's private catering pop-ups under the Ottolenghi group. So we did one in Sicily, and we did one in Ibiza. So the Sicily one was a private event, and the one in Sicily was for a hotel group called Azzaro in central Ibiza. And yeah, beautiful hotel, super chic and like very
really cool.
Ibiza.
Yeah.
But they have this really beautiful orange orchard and this big beautiful farm. Big beautiful gardens. And they set up their tables and chairs outside, and we did like a 240 person dinner out there, and the Sicily event was a 270 person luncheon. Good experience, fucking hard work.
Yeah, I can imagine. Like,
it was just like
barely a break.
4 days, 18-hour days, no sleep, doing the same thing for 4 days. Foreign country, foreign team, foreign environment, trying to organize your prep and your mise en place and deliveries, and it had its moments. It was challenges. it was challenging, but it was a good experience. Ibiza was probably a little bit more organized.
Yeah.
But then we did the event and we were cooking out of shipping containers. So we did all our prep in this really beautiful kitchen. We had a great team with us. But then on the actual day of the event, where they had this beautiful setup and it looked very luxurious, we were then cooking out of shipping containers and like little makeshift ovens and like plating on trestle tables. So we got it done.
Yeah, you got to be adaptable, right?
Just do it. You got to
just
do it. Yeah.
And so obviously you're a head chef at such a wonderful restaurant. What's the goal? What's the dream for the future?
The goal, it's an interesting one. I think most people assume that you want to always have your own restaurant.
Yeah.
For many years, I felt, perhaps still do, think that that's what I would want. Also through my life and watching my father and like the highs and the lows of hospitality even where like the industry is at here in London. Melbourne's pretty similar. It's a challenging industry.
Yeah, for
and
sure.
I'm in a fortunate position that it's not, yes, I'm the boss and it's my job, but it's not my livelihood.
Yeah.
It's not my capital, you know. When you put your own money into it, it's really stressful. I mean, it's always going to be stressful. You're running a business. But I think just having watched sort of the highs and lows of my family's operations, seeing where the industry is now, having friends in the industry. I mean, the industry is in this really fragile place right now where people, I don't think, understand how fragile or how close it, you know, really is. There needs to be more support. There needs to be more security, I think, on a like government level. And companies, you know, big companies are taking over. If you love eating out, if you love having a night out and your local pub, or if you live out of the city, you know, your village cafe, like go and support those businesses, because if not, that cafe will be a Starbucks or a Gale's. Gale's is actually pretty good. I devour a Pret sandwich, but you know what I mean. It's just the franchises will take over. And those independent run businesses need support. And it's the same for, you know, your local pub. Same for restaurants. You know, if you love eating out and you want to enjoy that, then go and support the restaurants. In terms of the future, if I wasn't working in a team environment like I am now, if I wasn't working in a kitchen like what I'm doing now, I would probably do something like private catering. Yeah. Just because you have the ability to be creative, a little bit more. I would probably try and do something quite small scale, a little bit more bespoke, a little bit more catered to, the needs of the people who are hiring me. But something more, small scale. I don't want to be pushing a pram around in like a big building offering sandwiches. Not that kind of catering, but and I'm not sure if I want to have my own restaurant, to be honest. I think a part of me still definitely wants that because it's what I've always thought I've wanted. But like I said, as I've gotten older, you just see things differently, and I feel very happy with where I'm at now and the trajectory that I'm on. So I feel like that's where I'll be in terms of the future. But in saying that, I want to live all over the world and explore different countries, and my family's in Australia, so
still figuring it out, which is exciting.
We're all figuring it out. We're just
Well, thank you so much. That was absolutely perfect.
Nice, thank you.
And I can't wait to see. And now I'm starving. So
good. It took a few cancelled events, but we got here.
We made it.
Thanks for having me.
Thank you. Thank you so much for watching. Please make sure that you like and subscribe so we can continue to make these and keep teaching people how to become A. Thank you.